what is up mga bis? So example number 1 na po tayo sa pag-solve ng deflection beams using the double integration method. Let's go! Alright, so kung makita natin mga bis, no, andito yung ating beam. Kasi diba beam yung sinusolve natin. So, ayan, this is the setup of the beam and we are tasked to solve the certain problem. So, ito yung problem natin. Sabi dito, let us determine the maximum deflection of the simply supported beam given yung ating moment of inertia and the modulus of elasticity. Okay, so paano natin ito sisimulan? Again, it's better to write first our formula para alam natin kung ano yung meron at anong kulang, di ba? So, we know that y double prime is equal yan sa ating moment equation divided by the flexural rigidity. Now, let's take a look. Yung E tsaka I natin given na. So, no problem with that. However, our M or the moment equation is still unknown. So, we need to solve for that. So, saan natin na makukuha? Dito sa ating beam. We need to analyze the beam. Okay? So, tingnan natin yung beam natin. What's the first step to do? Una, let's, wow, marami tayo. Plural ba yung let's? Let us solve dito sa ating beam yung kaniyang mga reactions, di ba? Kasi naka-pinto, tapos naka-roller. So, never mind the horizontal dito. It doesn't matter. It will not affect really sa pag-solve ng deflection. We just need to solve the vertical reactions. Now, how do we solve for that? Kung mapansin niyo mga Bs, there are a lot of ways, no? You can do summation moments B, summation moments A, or summation forces vertical, diba? Yung mga equilibrium equations. Pero kung makikita niyo mga Bs, no? Symmetrical siya. Okay? Symmetrical. Yung 20 na sa sentro rin, 3, 3. So, it means na na-distribute equally din dito sa A and B. Yung 20 na pababa. So, it means this is 10. This also means that this is 10 kilonewtons. Okay? So, ayan. Anything can do. Okay? Now, after knowing the, ano tawag dito, yung mga reactions dito, we will need to do a cut section. Saan natin yan puputulin? Dito sa pinaka rightmost, just before the, ano tawag dito? The reaction, support, the reaction, or the support. Yeah, the roller. Yun nga. So, kailangan ma-include lahat ng nasa left. Okay? So, ayan. Okay, now let us draw the free body diagram. Itong pinutol nating kahoy. Okay, yan. Oops. Boom. Kunwari straight yan. Okay, so sulat natin yung mga loadings na to. Meron tayo ditong 20 kilonewton. Tapos dito, meron tayo ditong 10, di ba? 10 yan. 10 kilonewton. Tapos meron dito tayong concentrated moment. It's going clockwise. Tama ba? Clockwise, which is 10 kilonewton meter. Now, this distance, okay, so this distance is 3 meters, okay? Now, let it be known guys, no, that this distance mula dito sa pinutol natin hanggang sa pinakadulo ay we will name that as distance x, okay? Ngayon, we'll need to write our moment equation, M, okay? Now, how are we going to write that? Basically, yung magiging pivot point natin or reference point is yung kung saan natin pinutol. Okay, so assumptions, clockwise moments, positive, counterclockwise is negative. So let's start here with this concentrated moment. This concentrated moment has a magnitude of 10. Now, we will not need to multiply any distance or perpendicular distance since moment na nga siya, di ba? Moment na siya. So, no need to multiply any distances. Unlike pag force siya. Okay, so if you would see, it goes clockwise. Ikot siya ng pag gano'n, di ba? Tama. Yan, tama. So, positive. Okay, next, we include here, okay, next, punta naman tayo dito sa 10 kilonewton force. So, this 10 kilonewton force is acting, paano ba? Pag nagaganon siya, it will create a clockwise moment pa rin. Same likewise dito. Now, if that creates a clockwise moment, then that's positive, basing from our assumptions. So, plus 10. Then, since this is a force, we need to multiply the perpendicular distance papunta sa ating reference point, which is dito. So, that is 10x, right? Yung distance na to. And then we continue. We have here 20 kilonewton force and it will create a counterclockwise moment. Pak, ikot siyang pagkanon. Therefore, it will be negative 20. Now, what is the distance from this 20 kilonewton force towards our reference point dito sa dulo? That would be x minus 3, di ba? Kapag yung distance na to, guys, is x minus 3. Do you agree? Di ba? Kasi yung buong ito ay x. So, we subtract this. Then, ito na lang yung natira. X minus 3. So, we write here x minus 3. Okay, so, basically, this is our moment equation na ipa-plug in natin dito. Okay, so, check natin yung tatlong given. And, we can now proceed sa ating method, which is a double integration. We will need to integrate 2 times. Okay, so, how do we do that? We write first this, transfer ko lang yung EI, since constant naman, EI, y double prime is equal to m. What's our m? That is 10 plus 10x minus 20x minus 3. Guys, ito huwag natin itong i-distribute, okay? Huwag tularan. Huwag gagawin yun. Okay, now, let us continue. First, we do our first integration. Yan, integrate muna natin yan. Ito, magiging EI. So, y double prime, if we integrate the second derivative, it will become the first derivative. So, y prime na lang. Is equal to 10. Ang 10, magiging 10x. Okay, so, review na lang from your integral calculus. Ito, yung 10x, yung exponent niya, which is 1, pa-plus 1 lang tayo. So, 2 na. Pero kung ano man nilagay natin na exponent dito, we bring it here downwards. Okay? And then next, we have here 20. Itong 20 mga b's, constant siya, so pwedeng nilabas lang natin. Dito tayo sa x minus 3. Yung x minus 3 natin, i-treat natin siya as x, isang term, parang ganito lang. So, in parenthesis pa rin siya, x minus 3. Now, anong exponent na dito? 1, di ba? However, since we are integrating, we'll just add 1 exponent, so magiging 2. And then, we'll include the denominator, the exponent here as the denominator. Okay, and don't forget, since we are integrating, we'll need to add an arbitrary constant, C1. Okay, so this is our first integration. So, this equation, we can call this as our slope equation. Bakit slope equation? Because y prime is also the same as the slope. That's dy over dx, rise over run. Remember? Okay, now, we continue. We are not looking for the slope, right? We are looking for the deflection. So, y prime needs to be y. And that will happen if we will integrate it again. So, kapag in-integrate natin yan, oops, bakit green yon? Dapat puraw. Yan, EIY. So, kapag in-integrate natin yung y prime, magiging y na siya. Okay? So, we are integrating pala this in terms of x, no, mga bis. Okay, yan. Share ko lang. Tapos, yan, tuloy natin. Ito, 10x. Ano yung exponent niya? 1, di ba? So, mag-add tayo ng isa. 2 over 2. Now, plus, ito, i-simplify na natin. 10 divided by 2 is 5, right? X. 2 yun, mag-add tayo ng isa. So, magiging 3. X cubed. And don't forget, we put it to the denominator also. Minus ito, simplify natin. 20 divided by 2, that's 10. And we have x minus 3 squared. Pero, we add 1. So, magiging cube over 2. So, yung C1, magiging C1x na yan. Diba? Kapag may constant tayo, for example, if we integrate 5, ito magiging 5x. No, diba? Sure ko lang. Tama ba? Oo, alam ko yun eh. I'm not sure. Pero feel ko tama yun. Okay, then we continue now. And since we integrated the second time, of course, we need to include, again, another arbitrary constant. We name that C2. Okay, so basically, mga bis, ito na yung ating deflection equation. However, we can't proceed solving that deflection that is being required because we are lacking with something. And what is that? We don't know the values of C1 and C2, di ba? Unknown pa sila. And how are we going to do that? We will use boundary conditions. Boundary conditions like, ano ba yung alam na natin initially, di ba? Ano ba yung alam natin na values ng deflection? Ano ba yung mga alam natin na values ng slope without solving anything first? We just simply analyzing the structure or the form of the beam. So makita natin mga bis, it's a simply supported beam. And what do we know in that kind of beam? We know that at supports, no, there are no deflections. So 0 y. Yung y natin ay magiging 0. You will never have deflections. And also we know that at maximum deflection, the slope is 0. So let's start first in solving C1. What do I mean with that? At C1, this is the, what do you call this? Slope equation. Okay? Slope equation because y prime is also called as the slope or the, slope. dy over dx. Now, Kung titignan natin dito mga bis, no, may alam ba tayo na section dito sa beam kung saan alam natin yung slope? Well, dito sa A, we don't know the slope there. Kasi diba yung deflection nito would look something like that. At A, we don't know the deflection, the slope, because that slope will look something like that. Kapag dito, ganyan. Kapag dito, ganyan. However, if you will notice, exactly here at the center, we know the slope there. The slope of horizontal line is 0. Bakit? Because at that certain location, at that location mga bis, no, the location of the maximum deflection, at the location of the maximum deflection, tama, the slope is 0. And kung papansin kasi natin mga bis, no, as I discussed in our previous videos, kapag yung beam natin is symmetrical, the location of the maximum beam is exactly at the center. Symmetrical siya kasi, you know, these concentrated moments are symmetrical, distance uniformly. Yung mga supported natin, they have the same magnitude, and also the location of this loading. So, pati yung geometrical properties ng beam natin, they are uniform. Uniform lahat yan. So, how are we going to use that to solve for the, what do you call this? For the C1 or for the arbitrary constant? Well, simply say it, we will just simply put that when x, so di ba yung x value natin is yung ito, x value, ito, yan, pwede kasing namumove yan. So, when our x is equal to 3, ito nga, when our x is equal to 3, we know that the slope is equal to 0. Bakit 0 yung slope natin? Kasi nga, sa x equals 3, at this location, that's the location of the maximum deflection. And we know that at the maximum deflection, the slope is 0. Ayan. Ang gulo ko, no? Gets ba? Parang paulit-ulit, pero that's the point, no? So, our conditions, boundary conditions, that at x is equal to 3, we know that the slope is equal to 0. So, kung makikita nyo dito, ipa-plug in natin dito. So, itong x, ipa-plug in natin dito sa mga x, and itong theta, or itong slope, is the same as that y prime. Ilalagay natin doon. So, makikita nyo, C1 na lang yung matitira. We can solve for C1. Okay? So, we just simply need to substitute. Okay? So, how are we going to do that? We will solve. Okay, so EI, y prime natin is 0. So, we put 0 there. Because 0 is, y prime is just same as slope. Then, we have 10x, pero our x is 3. Plus, 10 divided by 2, simplify na natin. That's 5, I think. Yeah. 5x, ang x natin is 3 squared. Minus 20 divided by 2 is 10. Ang x natin ay 3. So, 3 minus 3 squared. So, mag-0 rin lang yan. Plus C1. Okay, so makita niyo mga bis, C1 lang yung natira. So, we can solve for that. And simplify na natin. Ito, magiging 0. Ito, 3 minus 3 is 0. So, cancel this term. And we are just left here. So, 0, 10 times 3 is 30. Plus, 3 squared is 9. 9 times 5 is 45. Tama ba? Galit yung teacher ko eh. Tama ba? 9 times 5, 35. Yun, tama. Plus C1. So, transpose na lang yan. C1, add natin to 30 plus 45 would be equal to 75, diba? 75, pero transpose sa kabila, kaya magiging negative. Ayun, negative 75 yung C1 natin. So, ayan. Solve na natin yung C1. Now, let's proceed sa ating C2. We need to solve for C2. And, again, boundary conditions. We need to see. Now, ano ba yung nasa deflection equation natin is the y, or deflection. So, dito sa ating beam, what do we know about the deflection here? May alam ba tayong dito portion na, may portion ba dito na alam na natin yung deflection? Well, yes, of course, di ba? Alam natin na at support, sabi ko nga, there are no deflection. Okay, so it means that when our x is equal to 0, or di ba kasi dito yung x equals 0, our y is also equal to 0. Or, if our x is equal to 3 plus 3 dito, sa part na to is 6, we also know that our y is 0. Kasi at supports, there are no deflection. So, okay, so pwede natin gamitin either of these two conditions to solve for C2. Kasi di ba, meron tayong x, meron tayong y, plug in lang yan, solve na natin yung C2. And yeah, I'll just use the first condition because I think that's gonna give like more easier answer. So, dito, at x is equal to 0, we know that y is equal to 0. So, looking at our dito, ang equation to, deflection equation, plug in lang natin, ei times the y, or that's 0. Then x, diba? Kapag ilalagay yung 0 dyan, 0 rin lang. Ito, kapag ilalagay yung 0 dyan, 0 rin lang. Ito, 0 minus 3 guys, ito, lagay ko lang to explain ko to. 0 minus 3 over 2 cube plus, ito, yung mga to guys, 0 na to, diba? Kasi 0 times 10 is 0, 0 times 5 is 0. So, 0 ko na, hindi ko na nilagay. Now, itong C1 natin, ang C1 natin is negative 75. So, hindi pala yan. And negative 75 times x. What's our x? That's 0. So, mag-0 rin pala to. Ay, tama. 0. Minus, plus 0. Plus C2. Okay. So, makita niyo mga bis, no? Ito, cancel na yan. EI times 0 is 0. Yan, 0, 0, 0 lahat. Natira lang dito is this term. 10 times 0 minus 3 cube over 2. Now, makikita nyo mga bis, if we would simplify this, no, we will have a numerical value, diba? Kasi 0 times 0 minus negative 3 is like negative 3. Negative 3 cube is negative 9, negative 27. Yan, negative 27. Tapos times 5 is like, basta may value yan, diba? Now, ang point ko lang dito, we will not include this term. Bakit? Kasi nga, if this term, itong x minus a, this term yung x minus a, parang dito natin yan pinapertain. If that term, x minus a, is a negative number or is lesser than 0, we cancel out that term. And that is because of the theory of, principle of Macaulay. So, itong double integration method, minsan tinatawag yun siyang Macaulay's method because of this additional information. So, always take note of that now. If the term inside this parenthesis goes negative, don't include it. Cancel out that term because it will not give you a good answer. So, with that given said, we will not include this. Pero kapag positive naman siya, let's say 6 minus 3, so it will give a positive number, then include that. However, ito kasi, 0 minus 3. 0 minus 3 is, negative number, right? Kasi negative 3. Ay, gugulo ng utak ko, sorry. Ayun, tama. So, x minus a less than 0, ibig sabihin, we don't include it. So, cancel that out. Therefore, dito, C2 is equal to 0. Okay? Take note of that, guys, no? When x minus a would give you a negative number, cancel it out, do not include it. Gets? Alright. So, with that given said, we know the value of C1 and C2. So, pwede natin i-plug in dito yung value ng C1 and C2. And, finally, we have our deflection equation. Right? Diba? Ang galing. So, ayan. I will just erase this for now para magkaroon tayo ng space. So, remember, C1 is negative 75. Sulat ko dito. C1 is equal to negative 75 and C2 is equal to 0. So, for now, I will just get rid of this. Ayan. Alisin mo natin yan. Delete. Now, let's move on, mga bis. Okay? So, we have here EIY is equal to, let's simplify this further. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 5x squared plus 5 over 3. Let's keep that as fraction para hindi mag-decimal. Kasi kapag decimal, medyo compromise yung accuracy. Minus 10 divided by 2 is 5. 5 over x times x minus 3 cube plus C1. Ang C1 pala natin is negative 75. X plus 0. So, C2 is 0, so no need to include. Alright, so this is our deflection equation. Y, or the deflection, is equal to 5x squared plus 5 over 3 x cubed minus 5 x minus 3 cubed minus 75x divided by, what's our E? Diba kasi ilalagay natin ito sa denominator, pero ano yung E natin? C. Ang E natin is 200 gigapascal. 200 GPa. And we have the value of our I, or the moment of inertia, which is 42.8. 42.8 2.8 times 10 raised to negative 6. Ano to? M raised to 4. Okay. Now, before, this is our equation na mga kabis, pero it would be better to go and do some checking. What do I mean with that? Unity. Yan. Dapat pare-parehas yung mga units natin. So, di ba, dito, let's start first here dito sa ating moment equation, di ba? This M, dito yan galing, di ba? Ano ba yung mga units dito? It's in kilonewton, tsaka kilonewton, tsaka meter. So, this is in kilonewton and meter. So, dapat, yung mga force din dito sa baba should also be in kilonewton. And the distances should also be in meter. Okay, so let's try to analyze. What is gigapascal? Gigapascal is like, di ba, 1 GPa. Giga is like, what do you mean? Giga, yeah. Giga is like 1 billion, di ba? Kasi mega is 1 million. Kilo is 1,000. So, giga is 1 million, di ba? It's like, giga is 1 billion. So, 1 billion, 9 na 0 yan. The 1 billion Newton per meter squared. Correct me if I'm wrong, 1 billion Newton per meter squared. So, this is the unit of gigapascal. Now, ito, naka-meter raised to 4 siya. So, I would like to convert this Newton into kilonewton. Kasi, di ba dapat naka-kilonewton? So, we know that 1,000 Newton is 1 kilonewton. So, we just need to remove 3 decimal there. So, our final conversion, 1 gigapascal is equal to 1 million kilonewton over meter squared. So, with that said, we just need to multiply here, di ba? Parang conversion lang. So, 1,000 and 1 million pala. 1 million kilonewton divided by over meter squared is equal to 1 gigapascal. So, we just need to cancel gigapascal and gigapascal. Yes? So, from that, this is our final formula. Okay, yan. Clean na natin yan. Yan. Let's rewrite it para mas pogi tignan. Okay, so ito yung ating final deflection equation. Y is equal to 5x squared plus 5 over 3 x cube yun, no? Minus 5x minus 3 cube minus 75x divided by, so this is 1 million. Tama, 1 million. 1 million times 10 raised to 6, parang magka-cancel lang sila, di ba? Kasi 10 raised to negative 6 as denominator yan eh. So, cancel na rin lang yan. So, we just have 200 times 42.8. Ayan. So, this is our deflection equation. If we want to solve the deflection here at x equals 1.5, then palitan natin yung 1.5. We will know the deflection at exactly 1.5. Ganito yan. So, di ba ito yung parang magiging deflection, yeah? So, if we want to solve this deflection here, we just need to get this distance. Ano ba yung distance na to? Let's say that's 2 meters. If that's 2 meters, then let's just substitute x with 2. Okay? So, solve natin yung y. Makukuha natin yung distance na to. However, going back to the question, yung tinatanong niya is the maximum deflection. And maximum deflection occurs here at the center. Bakit? Kasi symmetrical siya. So, we know that for a reason. Pero kapag hindi siya symmetrical, we'll need to do something with that. Pero symmetrical nga siya. So, wag muna nating pahirapan sarili natin. We know that box depth occurs at x is equal to 3. So, to solve for the maximum deflection, or what we call the y box, solve for the y box, we just need to substitute, we just need to change this x with 3. Diba? Kasi yun naman yung location ng box depth. So, 5 times 3 squared plus 5 over 3. 3 cube minus 5. 3 minus 3 is 0. Diba? Tama ba? 3 minus 3 is 0. Cube. Malagay muna natin yan. Minus 75x divided by 200 times 42.8. So, remember, ang magiging sagot natin dito ay in meters, di ba? Kasi meters yun, meters. Okay. So, ayun guys. Ito, cancel natin to kasi 3 minus 3 is just 0. And ito, 75. Sorry pala, that should be times 3. Kasi yung x natin is 3. Ayan. So, calculate na lang natin yan. Using calculator, of course. Kasi kaya na lang mga nerve cells natin yan. 5. Okay. So, our answer, mga bis, is equal to negative 0.0157771 and so on and so forth. Ayan. Yan, guys. And meters. Okay? So, this is the maximum deflection. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, bababa yung ating beam at a maximum of this length, 0.015 meters. So, kung makita nyo, very negligible siya, di ba? Ang liit. So, okay lang yan. So, another way to check if you're in the right path, your deflection should be at least very least, no? Hindi yan abot ng meters, di ba? Kasi sira na yun. Sira na yung beam natin if that happens. Okay, so, ayan. I think that's it, no? Negative side pala, it means that the deflection is downwards. So, if that's positive, well, the bending would go like a sad face pag ganun. Okay? Pero kapag negative yan, tama. Kasi we expect that to go downwards. Ayun lang naman. So, if we check our final answer, it's 15.8 millimeter. So, yeah, we just convert this to millimeter times, times 1,000, di ba? So, move the decimal 3 places, 1, 2, 3. Naging 15.77 mm, which is also the same as 15.8 millimeters. Ayan, guys. If you have some questions in mind or clarifications, or kapag may mga mali na naman akong pinagsasamit dito, feel free to comment down below. No? It would be greatly appreciated. Okay? So, that's it, mga bis. Please like, share, and subscribe. Muli ako yung bubuig na nagpapala sa inyong maglakbay, mag-enjoy, maglaro, taliksik, king matinig. Joby out.